New currency for Pacific Games and 40th independence. Port Moresby preschoolers go 4 months without school. And Brian Bell Lae razed, banks saved.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and thanks for your company. This is Thursday's news. The Bank of Papua New Guinea today launched currency commemorating 2 key occasions this year, the 2015 Pacific Games and Papua New Guinea's 40th year of independence. Minister for Treasury Patrick Pruach unveiled the 10 kina note and 1 kina coin commemorating the Pacific Games and the 20 kina note marking PNG's 40th independence. These notes and coins will begin circulation next month. MTV's Lorraine Genia was at the launching today.
Launching was held here at the State Function Room today in Port Moresby. Now, Governor for the Bank of Papua New Guinea, Loy Bukani, was present, as well as Minister for Sports and 2015 Pacific Games, Justin Chichenko, and Minister for Treasury, Patrick Pruach. Now, the launching wasn't just specifically commemorating the 2015 Pacific Games, but also Papua New Guinea's 40th year of independence.
Banknotes and coins is a worldwide phenomenon that is done to preserve important events throughout a nation's history. The commemorative currencies that will be launched this afternoon are to mark 2 important and historical events that will take place this year, and these are the hosting of the 15th South Pacific Games in July this year and the 40th anniversary in September of our nationhood.
The 10 kina note and 50 toya coin has been designed to commemorate the 2015 Pacific Games, and the 20 kina note will have Papua New Guinea's signatory Bird of Paradise emblem embedded on the note, commemorating PNG's 40 years of independence.
The commemorative banknotes and coins has been printed in limited quantity to mark the 2 occasions. Following the launch, the central bank will embark on currency awareness to enlighten members of the public regarding the new commemorative currencies.
With fraudulence and counterfeit a potential issue, Governor for the Bank of Papua New Guinea, Loy Bukani, assured there are security features on the limited commemorative notes which are to be circulated next month.
And the integrity of the currency is very important for any country at all. This is at the backbone of why central banks try to make sure that currencies that we issue are widely accepted, secured, and as much as possible durable, so that.
Speaking in regards to the 2015 Pacific Games, Minister for Sports and 2015 Pacific Games, Justin Chichenko, commended the Bank of Papua New Guinea and the government for their combined effort in embracing the Games and signifying it as an important event for Papua New Guinea.
So these coins and currency for the Pacific Games will not only promote the Games over the next 6 weeks to the lead up to the Games, but also will bring the nation together through currency as well.
In his closing remarks, Minister Chichenko also added that the reason the government had invested so much money is because of the legacy that the 2015 Pacific Games will provide for sports here in Papua New Guinea. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV News.
Over 100 preschool students from Koki and Wanigala villages have become victims of political interference, denying them their rights to early childhood education. The preschool students, ages 5 to 7, have been forced to stay home after their classroom was renovated by Moresby South MP Justin Chichenko, but never returned to them. Today, after 4 months without classes, they appealed to Mr. Chichenko to explain when they will commence classes.
These preschool students, their parents and teachers were appealing to their elected MP, Justin Chichenko, to allow them back into their classroom. For 10 years, since 2005, they have been using this renovated classroom for schooling. However, late last year, Mr. Chichenko visited the area and promised a new classroom. But instead, Chichenko renovated the old classroom, which was completed and opened last month, but was not handed back to the preschool students to use.
Well, actually, after the renovation, when the opening was done, There's no response coming from the end. All we do is through the community-based operation school. We came asking the authorities here, but they say it's an instruction from the minister. That is the reason why we are here out, not getting the school running. Where the government of the day is pushing forward for free education for the children. I believe the children have the right to come to school.
School coordinator Trevor Berua says the enrollment list of students stands at over 130. However, they have missed 4 months of schooling since the beginning of this academic year.
My appeal to the member is that if we can be able to address this issue where the school can get started.
When they will commence classes is the question parents want answered.
Because there's a great need in the community. Parents and children coming to me, asking me to start when are the school gonna start, and I'm still waiting because I can't get the response from the minister. I tell them I haven't got the response yet. That's why on behalf of the community, I just want to appeal to the minister for the school to be open again.
The Koki Wanegela preschool has been ranked one of the best in the Moresby South electorate, receiving 3 times outstanding awards. Teachers are volunteers from the community. Quinten Alomp, National EMTV News.
The sleepy township of Vanimo in the Sandan province has been rocked with a series of murders in recent weeks. This has prompted locals to call for police to step up their operations to protect the people. Last week, a young mentally ill man was brutally murdered. The man's family is still waiting for investigations to begin and for the alleged criminals to be charged. Many locals in the province say police have compromised themselves by not performing their duties. Numerous attempts to contact the provincial police commander, Robert Kessa, were unsuccessful. 2 banks that nearly caught fire yesterday during the second Brian Bell Home Centre fire have resumed business today. Firefighters scrambled to save the Bank of South Pacific and Westpac, located just parallel to the retail shop. This fire brings Lae City's fire count to 14 within the last 17 months. It draws attention to Lae's ongoing fire problems. EMTV's Bethany Harriman has this report.
Business continues as normal at the Bank of South Pacific, but Lae's Westpac branch, the charred wall, shows just how close the bank came to being burnt down. Yesterday afternoon at around 5 o'clock, smoke was seen coming out from the Brian Bell Home Centre. The smell of the burning plastic, paint, metal and aluminium items soon filled the air. As distressed workers looked on in dismay. Members of the Lae Police Task Force and security guards kept the crowds at bay as the fire engine sounded the arrival of the Lae Fire Service. Firefighters arrived on the scene but were unable to put out the blaze. They then struggled to contain the blaze from spreading to Lae's Westpac and BSP buildings. The retail shop was destroyed by 6:30 p.m. yesterday afternoon. The blaze had started just before 5 p.m. In 2014, Lae City experienced the highest number of fire incidences, with 7 major fires in a space of 3 months from January to March.
I mean, the fire trucks are doing what they're able and capable of doing. So,
over the last 17 months, there has been 14 reported fires in Lae City alone. Mid-2014, a fire claimed the life of a young boy in the early hours of the morning. This latest fire adds on to the list and exposes yet again the weaknesses in Papua New Guinea's ability to prevent and contain fire emergencies.
So we are going to increase the number of equipments that they've got, training that they have, so that we can respond to many of these emergencies on a timely basis.
On a Wednesday, 29th October 2014, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said the government will be putting more money into improving the capacity of the fire service.
In Lae City, the fire service has been on the receiving end of public criticism after 14 fires in the space of just 17 months. They lack the equipment and capacity to encounter industrial fires, and the government hasn't given what they've promised to give. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lae.
The Chimbu to Madang Highway is a major road network for the provinces of Chimbu and Madang. With work on its construction moving forward, locals are adamant that the road will bring services directly to the people and offer economic opportunities that were once non-existent. MTV's Sasha Silova was in the province recently, and she files this MTV News special report.
The construction of the Chimbu to Madang Highway is progressing well, with the important road network earmarked to be officially opened later in the year. The Gambog to Bundi project, initiated by the Kundiawa Gambog District Administration under the leadership of local MP Tobias Kulang, was launched in October 2014 and received additional support from the government through a commitment of 5 million kina from the Prime Minister.
What we are doing now is just basic things that the people need: the roads, the hospitals, the schools. So at the moment, most of our efforts in infrastructure.
The road link is of great historical significance to the people of the Chimbu and Madang provinces, once used as a trade route, and the upgraded highway will now pave the way for vast economic opportunities for the people and efficient service delivery.
Rodigo also maybe opening economic corridors 5-6 kilometers away from where Misana Blong am. And this is the part, this is the point, we call him Mondia Pass. And we border him Gambog na Bundi. And we border Chimbu na Mereng. Okay, upside this is 5 to 6 kilometers away. And we block a Tupla mines. We block call him Yandra mine na Kumbrikari mine. So this la road important local communities. This lab all is stuck for so long, especially in terms of service delivery. Only been looking for good service. So with this road, was all people doing this lab corner by accessing better services.
The economic corridor will also boost the agriculture and tourism sectors, and is especially important for the people of the remote Mitnande LLG in the Kundiawa Gambog district, which is where the highway begins on the Chimbu side and where Mount William is located. Locals say the road will enable tourists to travel directly from Madang to Mitnande to track PNG's highest mountain. Customary landowners on the Chimbu part of the highway are happy with the building of the road. They say that for far too long they have been neglected, but can now see tangible development on their land.
Cloud pass na selesai dia musim mi papa ground mi alau musim selesai road tem kan kami di mana wala competition lo gagman aksim migim selesai road migim free na mi lagi service baga mi the province bumi.
Lo line lo Gambog mi plus travel go down lo Kundiawa to Goroka to Madang or Lae. But this time I'm look also mi blaba kisim Sodos road to pass to drive out from Madang na Lae. It will take less time lo mi blaba reaching Chimbu.
The Kundiawa Gambog District Administration is prioritizing on infrastructure development projects, such as the upgrading of bridges, housing for public servants, classrooms, district administration facilities, and the Gambog to Madang Highway, among other projects. Sasha Silova, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. Tonight, coming up after the break, Polytech boycott ends. Also, Cheshire Homes expands, and Minister Ben Micah dissatisfied with court decision. I'll bring you those stories plus more after the break. Stay with us. Good to have you back with National MTV News. After 16 months of planning and construction, today finally saw the opening of the Kids Discovery Playground at the Port Moresby Nature Park at Waigani. The playground was officially opened by NCD Governor Powis Parkett. Kids from the Palm Grammar Kindergarten were the first ones to try it out, and straight after the ribbon was cut. MTV's Goduneki reports.
With the opening of the new playground, the Port Moresby Nature Park is now pleased to say that with this new extension, the park is expected to see more kids visit the nature park than ever before. General Manager of the park, Michelle McGeorge, thanked her staff of 80 who have been behind the construction phase of the kids' playground, and for that they should be truly proud of their achievement.
The actual labour component and the construction component was all done by our team. We're really proud. We have a fantastic team of staff who, you know, can create these things, and I think they do a lot of that because they know that they're building something as a legacy, leaving this behind for PNG and building something for their children and their children's children. So we all work together. Most important thing though was that we had support and we had sponsors behind us, because this playground is valued at just over 400,000 kina.
She said with the park's 2020 master plan, the nature park is working towards 2 other major projects, including the birds' ivories and new toilet facilities.
You know, when we did the planning, we wanted to stay true to our mission, which is about celebrating PNG plants, animals and culture. So we felt it was really important to make sure that those elements were integrated in the playground. So we actually searched all across the world for pieces that we felt connected children to nature. So we ended up acquiring a number of pieces from a company in America that was into, you know, slides that look like logs, and you climb up vines and things like that. So that's really a lot of the elements.
This year alone, the nature park is expected to see 120,000 visitors to 125,000 visit the park, especially with the Pacific Games around the corner. Just 3 days ago, the Port Moresby Nature Park received a certificate of excellence from the world's largest travel website, Travel Advisor, as being one of the key sites for 2015 for Papua New Guinea. The Kids Discovery Corner and Playground is not only for kids to have fun and entertainment, but also to help kids understand and develop their minds about nature. Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
Well, students at the Lae Polytechnic Institute will return to class on Monday, ending a 5-week boycott over poor facilities and allegations of bad administration. The episode was brought to a close today after lengthy negotiations between the Education Minister, Nick Kuman, Higher Education Minister, Malakai Tabar, and the school's administration. Mr. Kuman also announced that auditors will be sent next week to investigate the allegations of mismanagement that is, and that work on upgrading the institute will happen within 3 months. Our reporter, Brian Bell Lae, who has been following this report in Lae, found this story.
This afternoon, after a 4-hour meeting, Minister Tabar and Minister Kuman met with staff and students on the institute's basketball courts. All parties agreed to end the boycott. Education Minister Nick Kuman told students that next week an audit team will be sent from Port Moresby to look into claims of mismanagement by the administration.
And within 3 months we will see some activity on the ground. And my only problem is that the procurement processes are concerned to me, so I want to make sure we strengthen those areas and we get the money where it's supposed to go.
Students boycotted classes because their sinks were broken, rooms were overcrowded, and the power switches needed service work. After the first 2 weeks of the boycott, the Higher Education Minister made a commitment of 1 million kina.
The act that I work with has got some small matters that needs to be escorted.
And we sincerely apologize for the poor quality in the audio of that report. We'll bring it back to you when it's rectified. Moving on, President of the PNG Law Society, Peter Kuman, has welcomed the appointments of new judges to the benches of the National and Supreme Courts. On behalf of the Council of the Law Society and the members of the legal fraternity, Kuman welcomed the 3 new judges, Fraser Pitpit, Hitelai Polume Kiele, Kenneth Frank, and reappointees George Manuhu, Alan David, and Leka Nablu. Mr. Kuman said that the 3 new judges have a wealth of experience in many aspects of the law, and the Law Society has every confidence in their ability to discharge their judicial duties. He said the PNG Law Society is looking forward to working with these judges in the years to come. Suspended President of PNG Police Union, Loa Tambua, breaks the silence of his suspension in office 2 years ago of allegations of stealing members' money. He said since then, no investigation was ever conducted to prove him guilty. Mr. Tambua said that attempts to get the fraud squad to investigate him were unsuccessful.
When I moved out of office, I did not make any noise.
Loa Tambua really wants the police to investigate alleged claims made by his colleagues that he had stolen and misused members' funds. He said he can't wait anymore, as 2 years of being suspended from office is too long, and he questioned why the investigation was never conducted.
I did not mismanage, misappropriate, or fraudulently stolen not a penny of their funds. Never. If I did, why didn't they just prosecute me and send me to Bomana? I've been waiting. I'm waiting for her to come with the police. Even I presented myself voluntarily to Frost Court. Guys, investigate me and put me to prison. And they said we can't.
Tambua slams his colleague, who is the longest-serving industrial registrar, for suspending him from office. He said according to the Industrial Organization Act, the industrial registrar should act as a complainant when receiving reports from union members and should not act as the jury or does not have the power to suspend or terminate the executive members of an organization. Tambua claims that when he took office in 2012, he discovered corruption involving millions of kina and union properties being misused and misappropriated. He claimed that he was starting to hold people accountable when they suspended him from office.
Goodness me, where is justice? Where is democracy? This is madness. How can a democratically elected president with the members be kept in a dungeon of injustice, waiting for justice?
He is appealing to the union members for their continued support. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Cheshire Disability Services is expanding into the Southern Highlands province. Negotiations between Cheshire officials and authorities in the Yalibu-Pange district have proved successful with the allocation of an office space provided by the District Development Authority to coordinate programs for the Highlands region. Local leaders and church members are welcoming the service and pledging their commitment to take ownership of the program, which they described as timely and a significant development milestone for the district. The Cheshire Board and Management also thanked Air Niugini for their commitment as a sponsor, effectively allowing Cheshire Services to reach out to all the provinces of PNG. Northern Governor Gary Jufa has raised concerns on the failure of various government institutions for failing to protect the interests of Papua New Guineans. He made particular reference to institutions such as the Labour Department and Immigration, among others. He was referring to issues on foreigners taking over jobs and businesses reserved for Papua New Guineans on the FM 100 Talkback show this morning.
Mr. Jufa is concerned about the fact that large numbers of Papua New Guineans are still involved in low-income opportunities and not actively participating in the development of the country's economy. He says windows of opportunities are wide open for exploitation, with very little protection from government institutions tasked to protect the interest of Papua New Guineans. Jufa says institutions such as the Labour Department, Immigration and the Investment Promotion Authority need to step up and perform their duties. Failure by these institutions has seen foreigners take over businesses and jobs reserved for Papua New Guineans. He questioned why the NEC has not acted on a submission to review the public service mechanism. The review, if implemented, could see an overhaul of the public service mechanism and restore confidence in the people. But the current scenario experienced by our people leaves much to be desired from the public service mechanism. He urged Papua New Guineans not to be complacent on the elected leaders of parliament, but to demand change and action from them. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Minister for Public Enterprise and State Investments, Ben Micah, has expressed dissatisfaction at the National Court's decision in refusing his application for leave on the grounds that he was denied natural justice. Mr. Micah was referred to the public prosecutor by the Ombudsman Commission for alleged misconduct in office. Mr. Micah sought the court's permission to allow him to verify the legality of the Ombudsman Commission's decision by way of a judicial review. However, Acting Judge Leka Nablu refused his application. Mr. Micah announced today that he will take this case to the Supreme Court, saying he will not rest until his concerns are addressed by the higher courts.
Because of the fact that I believe very strongly in my innocence, that I have not conducted a misconduct, and it is very unnecessary for me to be dragged into a tribunal that will suspend me and deal with me like, I've done something wrong. It's totally unfair for me, and I want this matter to go beyond the National Court to the Supreme Court. I have given instructions to Mr. Varitimos and Mr. Saroa after having received the written decision of Acting Judge Nablo that they will file an appeal.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.3685 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our Kina was fetching $0.3610 $0.4553 Australian dollars, $0.3213 euro, and 43.33 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa, and copper all closed the day lower. Crude oil closed the day higher, while palm oil and copper closed the day lower. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 27 points lower, the ASX closed at 5 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 5 points lower as well. Stay tuned, you're watching National EMTV News. We'll have all the news making headlines overseas when we come back. Welcome back to National EMTV News. We now take a look at international headlines. After weeks of turning away boats, ferrying hundreds of stranded migrants at sea, Indonesia and Malaysia yesterday offered temporary resettlement and repatriation to about 7,000 migrants. The migrants are mostly Bangladeshis and Rohingya people who fled religious persecution in Myanmar in double numbers this year. MTV's Alana Lae has this report.
Thailand's crackdown on human trafficking sparked the influx of migrants as trafficking routes and operations were disrupted. Over 3,000 migrants have landed in Malaysia and Indonesia following Thailand's refusal to allow the smuggling boats to dock.
Indonesia and Malaysia agreed to continue to provide humanitarian assistance to those 7,000 irregular migrants still at sea. We also agreed to offer them temporary shelter, provided that the settlement and repatriation process will be done in 1 year by the international community.
Thailand later said it would no longer push back boats and would continue to provide humanitarian assistance. Despite this, Malaysian Foreign Minister Anifa Aman said the temporary shelters would not be set up in Thailand, a preferred transit point for migrants. Last week, government and police officials visited an immigration office in Thailand's southern province of Satun, a prominent trafficking area. Locals in the area told officials they are aware of the human traffickers involved, but did not dare to reveal any names due to the trafficking gang's fearful influence. A Thai general said on Sunday that 62 people have been found guilty for involvement in smuggling Myanmar migrants, with 300 million baht confiscated. Alana Lae, MTV World News.
In related news, despite reaching resolutions to address Southeast Asia's migrant crisis, local Indonesian authorities in Aceh province say shelters for migrants lack basic showering facilities. Over 200 migrants were intercepted just yesterday in Indonesia. This now takes the number that has landed in Indonesia and the northwest of the southeast region of Malaysia to more than 2,500 over the past week. This Indonesian government officials say that while they have enough food for the migrants, basic showering facilities were lacking. In terms of food logistics, it's still sufficient and prepared. What we are lacking now are bathing facilities and toiletries. Migrants can be seen using water from a bucket in order to keep themselves clean. Some local Indonesians also help the government provide migrants with food at the makeshift shelter, which is a warehouse. A small kitchen was also made available for the migrants to cook their food. Officials from the International Organization for Migration were on site at the shelter to provide medical treatment and check the health status of the migrants. One Rohingya migrant from Myanmar wants to stay with his group. Indonesia is a Muslim country. Malaysia is a Muslim country as well. If they like to be there, then I'd like to be there too. If they like to be here, then I'd like to be here as well. Most of Myanmar's 1.1 million Rohingya Muslims are stateless and live in apartheid-like conditions in the predominantly Buddhist country. Almost 140,000 were displaced in clashes with ethnic Buddhists in 2012. Thousands of people are still adrift in the Andaman Sea after smugglers abandoned their vessels following a Thailand crackdown on human trafficking networks. The United Nations says the deadly pattern of migration by sea across the Bay of Bengal would continue unless Myanmar ended its discrimination. On the same note, nearly 100 Myanmar and Bangladeshi migrants were moved to an immigration facility in Indonesia on Monday. 43 Rohingyas from Myanmar and 53 Bangladeshis were transported from Sumatran Island to Medan, the capital of North Sumatra province. Thousands of migrants are believed to be stranded on similar boats on Southeast Asian seas. The United Nations says it was deeply concerned that boats were being pushed away and has offered help to send Malaysia medical assistance and other aid, as well as helping with the processing of the migrants. An Indonesian court has sentenced a Japanese grandfather to life imprisonment for drug smuggling into the country. 73-year-old Masaru Kawada was arrested in November at Minangkabau Airport in West Sumatra's capital, Padang, after customs found that there were 2 kilograms of crystal methamphetamine in his luggage. The district court in Pariaman found Kawada guilty yesterday of violating anti-drug laws. Prosecutors sought a 16-year sentence for Kawada, who argued that he was deceived by someone who asked him to carry a bag with the drugs inside. His lawyers said they would appeal. Indonesia has extremely strict drug laws and often executes smugglers. More than 130 people are now on death row, mostly for drug crimes. About a third of them are foreigners. You're watching National EMTV News tonight. Coming up next in Trukai Sports, the Oil Search Baton Relay in Kokoda and our PNG Lawn Bowls team in training. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Day 2 of the Oil Search Pacific Games Relay Tour in the Ora Province highlighted the significance in Papua New Guinea's rich history as they were led on through a number of World War II sites. The relay passed through the Kokoda track in a reenactment of the historic walk taken by the original Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels.
The team was taken by helicopter to their first stop, the beautiful and poignant War Memorial at Isaraba, with its stone plinths celebrating mateship, courage, sacrifice and endurance. Villagers and trackers were at hand to receive the baton and welcome into their community. The peaceful surrounds were interrupted briefly as the baton was taken by the Isaraba villagers for a run around the memorial. After bidding farewell, the team was flown over to the Higaturu oil palm plantation before arriving at Kokoda, where a relay was run through the station. Nurses and children of the hospital were presented with the baton before being passed on to other members of the community. Students formed a tunnel and welcomed the baton into their schools before running it up the steep hill to the Kokoda Memorial and Museum. A flight across to Buna and a formal welcome by the Buna Primary School and the Australian Defence Force officers stationed there. A reenactment was done of a photo from World War II when villager Rafael Olembari came to the aid of an Australian soldier on the Buna track. From there, the team left for Oro Bay and a relay around the entire bay, taking in the PNG Ports Wharf, the oil tanks of Higaturu Oil Palm and the numerous villages that are spread along the coastline. The Oil Search Pacific Games relay heads to Tufi tomorrow. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
Selection for the final PNG Lawn Bowls team for the Pacific Games has been finalised, with 7 men and 7 women making up the squad. Players have been selected from different bowling associations in the country. The final team has never trained together, but has been in preparations over the last few months in their respective provinces. MTV's Elijah Levette has this report.
The youngsters in the team have taken up major roles and have shown improvement and commitment in their training leading up to the games.
Male one here, the male junior bowler Gariga Babona. He's also the national champion for singles, junior champion. I've got him under my wings here, so every now and then we have a roll-up. Singles champion also, and the beauty of it is she's also the national women's singles champion. So how much better can you be? You know, I've been a junior champion as well as the national women's singles champion. So she's doing very well as well.
The Lone Bowls team has been training separately, but with guidelines set by Coach Willie Stephen, he said the team's preparations are on par.
Speaking to them over the phone and remote controlling them, so to speak. Most of them have done their drills. I've given them drills to work with, which is good. And we've got Albert Barakena going through and having a look at them. They're going through their drills at their own time.
Funding has become an issue with the delay in the team's international trips to upskill themselves on the synthetic surface on which they will be playing during the games.
Team working on funding and our proposal to go out and do international training, which is, like I said earlier on, we'll actually be heading down to Cairns, Brisbane and Fiji, and then back again through Brisbane and Cairns again. So the purpose of that trip will be to play on synthetics, because while here the venue will be synthetics.
Despite training venues and preparations being issues to many sporting codes, the Lone Bowls team and Team PNG for the Pacific Games are focused on completing their training and performing to their best in July. Elijah Lavette, National MTV Sports.
You're watching True Kai Sports tonight. We take a look at our powerlifters. That's coming up next. Stay tuned for that.
True Kai Sports.
Good to have you back with True Kai Sports. And powerlifting, PNG's powerlifters have been in training in the High Performance Centre over the past few weeks under new head coach Scott Upston. Upston has seen a lot of improvements in the team's training and is confident the team is on the right track. MTV's Shane Saroya caught up with the powerlifters during their training.
The PNG powerlifters did well to impress the judges at the recent international meet in Melbourne, Australia, setting a number of record lifts and the most personal bests. But all that aside, the team now has a bigger task at hand, the much anticipated Pacific Games.
Looking at an athlete and allowing them to, quite often they lift well within their limits. So it's looking at an athlete and going, actually mate, you've got a little bit more, and asking that little bit more of them. And when they do it and succeed, you can actually see the excitement and enthusiasm, so you can challenge them again next time and continue to raise the bar, and they've actually continued to step up, which is fantastic.
The team is back in training and are focused on the games in July, with the side looking positive with the likes of Vaggy Henry and fellow lifters who are currently gold medal contenders for the July Games. Vaggy Henry keeps on learning and improving every time and is known to many as a humble giant.
The team have been in training in the High Performance Training Center under the watchful eyes of new head coach Scott Upston, who is quite pleased with the team's progress so far.
Coach Upston said a part of his role is to identify the athletes' potential and encourage them to step up. According to him, they're just doing that, which is good. The team has been full steam ahead with training 2 times a day and making significant improvements. Some are even exceeding their personal bests.
He's one of the guys, his personal best for squat was 5 repetitions at 180 kilos. We got him the other day to 195 kilos for 5 repetitions. So that's again just identifying the athlete's potential and asking him to step up to that potential. And yeah, he's really excited and enthusiastic about his improvements since I've been here.
With their performance and commitment so far, they can make significant contribution to the team. With the likes of Linda Poulsen, who are well respected in the sport of powerlifting. Going up against the Nauruans in the Pacific Games will be tough, so the team will have to give extra effort in their training.
For 2 weeks, so we're training twice a day. I have the girls in the morning and the guys in the afternoon, and we're training all the way through till I go home. So it's as much information as I can impart to the guys and girls, obviously before I head back.
Upston believes the Nauruans could be tough to beat, but the team could scare them now and beat them in the next Pacific Games. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Still on powerlifting, Linda Poulsen will be participating in the World Powerlifting Championships in Finland following her qualification, where she broke 32 records in the Oceania region and set an unofficial record in powerlifting to be ranked second in the world. She will attend the World Championships to make her record official.
Prior to going to Finland, we went down to Melbourne in April, and Linda broke 22 records, Oceania and Pacific records, over her position because she's the premium lifter in PNG. She was selected to go to the world titles in Finland. And pickup is incredible, and for her size, and we're very, very proud of her, especially to have her on Team PNG.
Qualify logolo disla ona mi hama master semba mi attend in disla world championship.
Prove to the world that she can pick up more than 3 times her own weight, which is an incredible feat for anyone. Never mind a young, virile young lady like Linda.
Representing PNG na family na team powerlifting.
Good on you, Linda. Well, that's the news in sports tonight. Coming up after the break, we'll have all the weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay tuned.
Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, Port Moresby fine, although dry. Few showers expected in Alatau, mostly fine expected in Popondetta, Karama and Dara to look forward to fine weather. In Momase, mostly fine expected in Madang, few showers for Wewak and Bunnymoor, and a shower or two likely developing in Lae City. In the New Guinea Islands, mostly fine expected in Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul, Buka and Kimbe, Loringa, mostly fine as well. In the Highlands region, fine apart from morning fog expected in Mount Hagen, mostly low cloudy weather expected in all the other centres. Looking at waters off southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait, Daru to Kiwai Island, Karama, Yule Island, Hood Point to Summer Island, and eastern and western Milne Bay Island, seas of 1.5 metres to 2.5 metres. Waters of Summer Island through to Cape Vogel, Finschhafen, New Britain, New Island to Bougainville, seas of 0.5 metres to 1.5 metres. Waters of Finschhafen including Vitia Strait, Siasi Island, all the way to Long Island, seas of 0.5 metres to 1.3 metres, and waters of Long Island to Madang, Bogia, through to Wewak, Aitape, Vanimore, and the northern PNG Indonesian border, Manus, and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 metres to 1.2 metres. And lastly, looking at ocean forecasts for PNG areas, Coral Sea sees moderate to rather rough with east to southeast winds at 20 to 34 knots. Solomon Sea sees moderate with clockwise winds at 15 to 25 knots. Bismarck Sea sees slight with northwest to southwest winds at 10 to 15 knots. And Pacific Ocean sees slight to moderate with southwest to northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. Now, before we go, as always, taking a recap of our top stories tonight. New currency for Pacific Games and 40th Independence. Also, Port Moresby preschoolers go 4 months without school, and Brian Bell Lae razed while the banks were saved. Well, that's been the news, sports and weather tonight, this Thursday, 21st of May, 2015. From the news team, I'm Tokana Hasavi. Thanks heaps for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.